let me just run through it quickly before 9, and we run through our quiz. I think in 45 minutes I should be done before you exit. Okay. Yeah. All right, so we'll be looking at these units. The first one, we'll be looking at the purpose. Then we'll be introducing ethics. We'll also be looking at Unit 2, a professional approach to ethics. Unit 3, ethics in professional life. Unit 4, determining whether an action is ethical. Then Unit 5, a structured approach to ethics. Then Unit 6, we'll be looking at ethics, shade of gray in opinions. And Unit 7, ethics in the case study exam specifically. So we'll be looking at 7 units, but we'll be running through them brief. So by way of purpose, after these lectures or class, we should be able to, by the end of this module or this chapter, explain the place of ethics in the accounting profession. We should be able to explain IFAC's pronouncement on ethics. There is the International Ethics Standard Board of Accounting, IESBA, that conducts ethics for professional accountant. There's a document of about 150-something pages online. You may need to go through it, and we'll talk about it also in the course of the conversation. We'll also understand how to determine ethical conduct and the place of ethics in the case study exam, which is very important. And ethics carries 10 marks, 10% of each requirement, which is 20% requirement 1 and requirement 2. So we need to know how to address ethical issues in the case study. All right, so by way of introduction, what is ethics? I don't know if you can give me your own definition of ethics apart from what is written on the screen. What do you think is ethics? That word.
Ethics is a standard moral way of operation.
Yeah, I like that, moral way of operation. You see, that morality is a vital part of ethics. Thank you for that. So a standard way, a moral way of operation. Good. I like that moral you added to it. So I can define it as written and unwritten codes. So I believe the unwritten codes are the morality of ethics you talk about. Then the written codes speaks to our professional code of conduct, our ethical guidelines for ICAN and our office. So for written and unwritten codes of principles and values governing decisions and actions is what ethics refers to. So by way of reiterating what you defined, written and unwritten. So moral is unwritten. If I would adopt your definition, then standards are the written codes. Thank you for that definition. I can see Rofiat is on the call. You're welcome. So maybe I'll get Rofiat's definition. Let me ask her immediately. Rofiat, you're welcome. Nice to have you. Julie is saying hi.
Good evening.
Rofiat, how are you doing?
Hi,
You're
good
welcome.
evening.
Nice to have you.
Juliana,
Nice
happy Easter, sir.
Happy Easter. How are you doing?
Thank you so much.
I'm
Thank you so
fine,
much.
Okay.
Your holiday has finally ended.
Yes, we're going back to work tomorrow.
Yes, we are going back to work.
So,
Yes.
Less than
Yes,
20 days to go. Huh?
No, not less
Yeah.
than 29 days. Today is 29 days, not 20 days, 29.
Really?
29.
Okay.
Yes, it's 29.
The exams are here.
All right, so
Like,
Anxiety,
yes, so the exams are-
exams are here.
I'm telling you, anxiety is building up. Exactly.
This is where
I'm telling you. All right, so Rofiat, give us your own definition of ethics. Julie just gave us a powerful one. She called it standard and morals of operation, and I like it. So give us your own short definition of ethics, apart from what you see on the screen. We are looking at ethics and the professional accountant. So what's your own definition of ethics? What do you think is ethics?
Okay. Ethics are guiding behavioral principles. Yes, so they come in different ways. Like we have different standards, we have operational guidelines, policies that should guide an accountant in carrying out their operational activities. That's my own definition, Sha.
Absolutely. I agree. So you said it in another way. You said guiding principles and standards that help us as accountants to operate. Exactly. So I like that. So we shouldn't just be like Animal Farm, but then the accounting professional is noble in the sense that it's guided towards a particular behavior. And that's what speaks to the nobility of the accounting profession. Thank you very much. So I agree with Julie. She said standards and morals, and you bringing in guiding behavior. You see, that behavior is very important. So those keywords are essential and they resonate with me very well. Thank you very much for sharing. So that's ethics generally. Now, streamlining it to business, because accountants, we're either in business or in practice. And majority of accountants, even in practice, do business. So ethics in business speaks to individuals and organization as a whole. So ethical issues don't work in silos or for individuals. They permeate around an organization, and it's shaped by the organization's culture and those in power. So ethical issues from the business standpoint or perspective speaks to from those at the top. And that is why there's a word we call in risk management and audit, we call it, or governance, we call it tone at the top. So ethical behavior should start from the top. And you see most chartered accountants are at the top. Most chartered accountants are either finance directors, finance managers. They have decision-making roles in our organization. So we should permeate that. We should exemplify ethics from the top, which is very, very important. So actions and individuals in an organization as a whole, and from the top, from the board down to the directors, down to senior managers, middle managers, lower cadre staff, ethics is supposed to permeate as a culture. And this is what business ethics refers to. And what does it culminate in? It culminates in trust. When an organization is ethical, trust is the result. And it's called business trust. Trust from outsiders placed on a business. You see, when you lose trust, it's difficult to establish it. It's like egg. Once egg is broken, I'm sorry, you cannot return it back. Even sorry, you cannot return it back. When you throw egg in the ground, you break it. You cannot return it to the form it is. And that's what trust is like. When somebody trusts you as an individual, as an organization, don't betray that trust. And how do you stay within the purview of ensuring that trust is fostered is to act ethically. So our ethical behavior as organizations, as individuals, help us to earn trust. There are people you will never trust in this life. Why? Because they betrayed it by behaving unethically or in a way that does not align with your ways or ethical operations. So basic element of business ethics is knowing right from wrong and choosing to do what is right. Exactly. So those are basic elements. You know this is right in an organization and do it. A lot of people will tell you, oh no, Nigeria is full of corruption, Nigeria is full of this, let's just follow the trail. Now a wise man said, wrong is wrong, no matter how many people is doing it. And right is right, no matter how few people are doing it. So you cannot change wrong because the populace believe in the wrong. You have to choose to do the right thing, which is the basic element of business ethics. And this is very important for us as chartered accountants. So that's by way of introduction. Let's move into the course very, very intricately and very fast. We're looking at a professional approach to ethics in Unit 2. The accountancy profession generally speaks to a principle-based approach, especially within our jurisdiction, which is the UK-based, the IFRS-based, and we have the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants Code. It was promulgated by IFAC. This code is a document that speaks to our responsibility to act in the public interest as paramount, not solely for our clients or employers. So this document, like I said initially, is about 150 pages. Once you Google it, you'll see it. Please download it. I have a soft copy of this ethical code. So it's the ethical codes that guide members of the International Federation of Accountants. ICAN is a member, ACCA is a member, ICAW is a member, and numerous accounting bodies globally. So this document helps us and provides a roadmap and blueprint for us to follow as accountants, and it's an approach that is principle-based to guide us on our responsibility to the public. This is very important. So we must comply to these codes. And even if law and regulation prohibits certain part, we must comply to others. It's very important. And there's a conceptual framework that speaks to this, and it's to identify the threats to these fundamental principles. We need to evaluate the significance of these threats, because if you want to act ethically, definitely there are threats. There are even people that will hate you in the office when you want to do the right thing. So aside people hating you, there are also threats coming from people and systems to try to make you not to apply these fundamental principles of ethics. So we need to apply safeguards to eliminate or reduce these threats to an acceptable level. Also, our professional judgment is crucial in this framework or application of this framework. So this framework helps us fundamentally through this, 5 fundamental principles, and they guide us to the way we are supposed to behave in our organization. We are used to them, but we just reiterate them one way or the other and very fast. Number one is integrity. What does integrity mean? It's straightforward and being honest in all your professional and business relationships. Is very important. We've heard of this severally from foundation, skills, even from our secondary school. Integrity is the bedrock of business. You have to be straightforward, and as a chartered accountant, you must be honest in all your professional and business relationships. You must not be associated with anything false, misleading, reckless statements, misleading opinions, material and false information, and it implies fair dealing and truthfulness. You are not corrupted by self-interest or undue influence. This has bedeviled many accountants. Self-interest come in and you see accountants stealing, you see accountants doing a lot of shady things. Why? Self-interest. And that is why the professional approach to ethics should put the public interest in view. And we must not be unduly influenced by our office. That's why I said initially by a quote, wrong is wrong no matter how whoever colludes or a cahoot of people are doing it, and right is right no matter how few are doing it. So let's choose, and our choice comes in powerfully to play here. We must choose to do the right thing no matter who is doing wrong. Number two, talking about the 5 fundamental principles. So looked at integrity. Let's look at number 2, which is objectivity. You must not allow bias, conflict of interest, and undue influence to override your professional and business judgment. You must avoid relationships that compromise your judgment. It's very important. So as an accountant, you must be objective. You should be able to see the true picture and speak that picture, no matter who it's against. It's very important to not to allow bias, not to allow you to be clouded by whatever it is, ethnicity, tribalism, religion, or whatever it is, to becloud your judgment, or even friendships or some kind of relationships that stop you from doing your job objectively. So you must make sure you are professional in your business judgment. Avoid anything that will affect you from doing the right thing. That's being objective. So this approach is very essential for chartered accountants to be objective, whether as auditors or as finance professionals, as external auditors, whatever field of accounting you are specializing in. Objectivity is very important. Number 3 is professional competence and due care. You must always maintain professional knowledge and skill at your required level, and that speaks to your current development. Every day you have to be up to date, exercise judgment in applying your knowledge. So as you are updating yourself in the field of accounting, you are updating yourself and you are being competent to meet up with the day's challenge of the profession. So what you know last year as a chartered accountant has transcended or metamorphosed into an upgrade. It has upgraded in this year. So you are abreast with the fact, and that is why the ICAN body ensures that you have about 40 credit hours of knowledge every year. Last year, I think 2024, it was 30 credit, but every year you have to upgrade to 40 credits. So that you passed case study or AAA, you finished the exams, does not mean that's the end of studies. Studies continue till it continues till infinity. in perpetuity as a chartered accountant. And what's the aim? Is to help you to stay professionally competent, and it will help you to always exercise sound judgment in applying your knowledge to issues and situations in the office and your professional life. Is very important. And when you are upgraded every time, you are careful to behave and maintain that behavior. So this is one of the 5 fundamental principles, which is very important for accountants. So once we qualify, please join a district, ensure you participate in MCP, pay your financial commitments yearly, attend MCP. They are called Mandatory Compulsory Program of Education. Attend them and keep upgrading yourself. So those are ICAN's own. There are others you need to develop yourself personally. I tell people the best way to develop yourself is by yourself. The greatest way you can improve yourself in your field is your own personal investment. Your investment in your field, your time, energy, and resources builds your competence, build your eloquence, build your communication skills. All this helps you to be a very, very relevant chartered accountant in today's metamorphosing and digital age. So professional competence is key. I stayed on this point because some people pass exams and the next thing, I'm chartered chicken. But you see chartered accountants, they speak and they are not competent in the field. You ask them, they can't even prepare ordinary financial statements based on IFRS. And you're wondering, this person is ICAN. It's not ICAN's fault, it's his fault. He has refused to develop. So it's our responsibility. Ask yourself, push yourself. I know how I push myself to develop every day, every hour, every minute, every month, every year, structured and unstructured. Why? Because I need to stay ahead in the field. So it's very important as one of the fundamental principles, number 3, to be professionally competent to apply due care. So it's number 1, attainment of initial qualification is one of it. Like we are here working on case study. We're looking at ethics and the professional accountant is number 1 way, and we are staying competent. Congratulations. Number 2 is maintenance. Like I said it, continuous awareness and understanding, continuous program of education. ICAN calls it mandatory continuous program of education, MCPEs. But if you see other professionals like ACCA, ICAW, CISA, CIA, they call their own CPDs, continuous program of education. Every year you must go and learn. You may not write exams, but you keep learning. And the next thing is diligence, your own personal input, doing the necessary, act in accordance with assigned requirements, carefully and thoroughly and timely. Your diligence in empowering yourself is key in your professional development. Also, confidentiality. Respect confidential information from professional and business relationships. That's number 4. So finish professional and due care, professional competence and due care. So number 4 is confidentiality. As chartered accountants, we need to respect confidential information and keep every business relationship private. As you deal with client A, don't let client B know the information you have from client A. That is how to be confidential. It's very important. And it entails not disclosing information to any party professionally except legally for use to anybody's advantage. So this conflict of interest, you must consider interest of all parties, substantiating that information, and the type of recipients of your information you are communicating before disclosing it has to be authorized by the person you received that information from. So confidentiality is the 4th one, and we must keep this very, very professional. Number 5, and the final 5th principle of professional ethics, fundamental principle, is professional behavior. You must comply with laws and regulations and avoid any action that discredits the accounting profession. Any actions that any third party would view negatively must be avoided, and that's how to behave professionally. Obey laws, comply with regulations, internal and external. Make sure you don't do anything that discredits the professional, the profession of accounting, and they say, accountants, they are thieves. Please avoid any action that will make you fall under that category. It's very important. Let's be honest and truthful in marketing, in behaving. Avoid exaggerated claims or disparaging comparisons. Any statement like shall indicates these principles are absolute. So we should, shall means we should make sure we have integrity, we're objective, we are professionally competent and behave and are careful duly with our assignments, we are also confidential, and we also behave professionally. So those 5 fundamental principles are very key, and we should do them. It's not we may, you can see it's should. That is the statement, and these principles are absolute. So when you want to do this, when you want to apply these principles, there are threats to it. It doesn't come easy as you're trying to foster this behavior in your workplace. You find out that threats come in and they try to stop you from doing that. Of course, they will come. So you need to identify, you need to know these threats, and we're aware of them. Just to reiterate them, 5 of them are threats to complying to these fundamental principles. Number 1, self-interest, financial or other interest, inappropriate influence that will judge your behavior. You are in charge of petty cash or the main cash in the office, and you are in need. You feel, okay, let me borrow this money, and you know that is wrong. Let me borrow this money, at the end of the month, I will return it. You see, you don't plan to steal, but then if a spot check is carried out by internal audits or external audits, you'll be found wanting. So you've allowed self-interest to come in. So I tell people, I would rather go outside and borrow from a friend than touch office money. It's very important. So go outside. Don't allow self-interest to make you behave in that manner. Very important. So financial interest or other interests that will bring you monetary benefits should be avoided. If your salary is not enough, I tell people, resign. Resign. Look for another job or something to do than to dent your integrity. You see, your name is your greatest asset. That name, they say a good name is better than riches. So self-interest coming and some people try to confuse you is one way to jeopardize your integrity. So financial interest and other misappropriate behavior to gain financial advantage should be avoided at all means, at all costs. Very important. So self-interest is one of the threats, and we need to avoid it. A lot of people have brought money to me in the office. I can't count several times, and I tell them, no, I don't want. Take your money away. Hey, no, we are just appreciating you. I don't want. Simple. I don't want. So we'll face situations like that. We must have been facing it. When you start collecting it, it becomes your judgment. When you are doing reviews, you cannot review objectively. You begin to think of rewarding the person that brought money to you. Self-interest is coming, and you cannot do your work objectively. So as chartered accountants, avoid it. Avoid it is very, very critical. Okay, so number 2 threat is advocacy. You're promoting a client's position to the point of compromising your objectivity. So advocacy comes mostly our tax accountants in practice. A client pays you a chunk of your yearly revenue, and you try to advocate for that firm. You are trying to ensure that you retain the firm. You are speaking and standing. No, these are advocacy threats, especially for those in practice. You don't stand in a position where you're advocating for a firm and compromising objectivity. Allow the firm, you've done your report, allow the firm to speak for themselves in any situation that they are asked or warrant to come and answer. So advocacy is a threat that affects accountants, and we must be careful to avoid it. Number 3 threat is familiarity. Please, I'm running. If you have to interject, please, I've always said, it's an open class. We are trying to run to beat time, but then it's an open class. Any observation, question, whatever you have in mind, please interject. Like I used to use Julia as an example. Please use her method. Stop. Go back to the slide. I like that. You need to clarify something so that you can catch what we are saying. Okay, so the next one is familiarity threat. Due to close, long relationship, you are being too sympathetic or receptive, you start empathizing for a client or an employer, and it beclouds your judgment to a point where you've lost your objectivity. So familiarity threat with an employer or somebody you're working for should not becloud your judgment as an accountant, a chartered accountant. It's like a medical doctor that is supposed to perform surgery and he's pitying the client. If he pities the client, he doesn't do the necessary thing. The client may die. So as chartered accountants, we have businesses at our fingertips, and then the life and death of those businesses is in our hands to some extent. So we need to be objective, say the truth, tell the truth, say it as it is, so that hard decisions will be made to move that company forward. So familiarity threat must be avoided. And the next one is intimidation. Intimidation threat is being deterred from being objective. You are being threatened by somebody's personality or pressures, actual or perceived. We need to avoid these. There are some intimidations that you may need to resign. You may need to leave that job. Yes, you may need to leave that assignment or leave that client. Some intimidations must be avoided at all costs to the point of resignation. But then before you resign, before you leave, you need to seek advice from your district as a chartered accountant, from the ICAN, and you have vast resources, human, to speak to in situations where you are feeling intimidated. It's very important to address this. I think there's one more. Okay, self-interest, yeah, self-review, advocacy, familiarity, and intimidation. Okay, there are 5, yeah. So I thought I did only 4. So there are 5, and those are the 5 threats we need to avoid and be sensitive to in our duties as chartered accountants. All right, so we'll run through Unit 2. Any question on professional ethics? Any question? I can see Aisha on the call. Aisha, you're welcome. Nice to have you. You're muted, Aisha, if you're speaking.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir.
You're welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you. How's the Easter break?
Very well, thank you.
It's nice. That's nice. Thank you. Okay, so let's run. We have a few minutes left to close out on this. Okay, so let's go to number 3, ethics in professional life. As ICAN members, we are students, very soon we'll qualify. By God's grace, we must develop and adhere to ethical approach. So ethical awareness and addressing issues develop over time. So in our daily life, in our professional life, we meet these issues, and it's not one-off, it's an ongoing thing. It permeates around our professional life every day. So we need to understand that ethical issues are often subtle. They don't come as direct ethical issues. You need to decipher and say, hey, this is an ethical issue. So your work experience provides opportunity to observe and also practice these ethical principles we've spoken to. So your day-to-day life as chartered accountants, they come before you, they come to you. Like I've told you, bribes, incentives, many things have been presented to me as internal audits. So the best way to manage myself is to reject them. Yeah, that's the best way to manage myself, is to reject them. So they come, but they won't say their ethical issues as placard. They come as, oh, thank you very much for the job you do. Oh yeah, take this 20,000, buy fuel. No, thank you. I don't want. So those are issues. It may not be wrong. Their intention may not be wrong, but to manage yourself is better to avoid it. So your day-to-day work has an ethical dimension. The way you treat people, the way we analyze information, the way we make decisions, and the way ethical issues come. So professional values develop through formal and also informal training. So formally we are trained now. Through our informal day-to-day work, we also meet ethical issues, and we need to address them professionally. So ethical behavior pervades or runs around an organization. And you see that in this part of the world where corruption is glorified, what you have, what you own determines who you are. Wrong is almost being as right now. You see somebody collecting bribe and you say it's facilitation. They call it all kinds of names. You see questionable behavior even from the top, from government down. It has eaten into the fabrics of the system. Corruption is glorified. If you have cars, nobody cares how you got them. If you have houses, nobody cares how you got them. Just get it by any means. Now, with such behaviors coming from the top, from leaders, it's easy to affect even we chartered accountants. Questionable behavior in one way or the other signal wide issues, even in offices. So we need to be careful. And in our professional life, our religion affects us practically. Both faiths, Christianity, Islam, they both teach that unethical behavior is ungodly. Both teach it. It's just that we don't practice it, or we choose not to practice it. So we need to be careful as chartered accountants that we are serving God. Both of us, both faith, whatever methods you use, we are serving God, and we all answer at the end of the day how we behaved. Whatever it is you use to get ill wealth, whatever you have, ethically, aside passing exams, we'll answer one day. So we need to be careful and make sure we behave accordingly. This is very important. So that's ethics in professional life and generally speaking. If we don't have any questions, I will run to chapter 4 or unit 4. Determining whether an action is ethical. So there are some questions we will ask to determine whether an action is ethical. So when we are coming with ethical issues, they come before us in the office, we need to ask our questions with this 4-way test. It's a reflective process when accounts are being prepared, decisions are being made, and it's on your table. You need to reminisce over some of these and resonate over them and quickly use this 4-way test to check if an action is ethical. You ask yourself, is it truthful? Truth is always truth, and lie will always be lie. And we know it inside us because every human being has a police, and that's his conscience. You know when it's a lie, you just want to take it, and you greedily want to take that money, but you know this is wrong. So is it truthful? Let it pass the truth test. Number 1, you know whether an action is ethical. Number 2, is it fair to everyone affected? So whatever action it is, are you fair to everyone? Somebody is in DC and the disciplinary committee made a decision. Sorry, is somebody trying to interject? Oh, okay. I guess somebody's mic is on. All right. So your ask, is it fair to everyone affected? Is the decision made fair? So that fairness test must be passed to determine whether an action is ethical. Also, will it build goodwill? The goodwill test for an organization is also to test whether an action is ethical. I saw someone working for an organization that sell children. They sell children. So that organization is already, it doesn't have goodwill. You can't work for an organization that sells children. And I saw it on the news. I was like, what kind of accountant to work for this kind of organization? So that goodwill test must be passed. So an accountant should not even be found in that kind of place in the first place. And the last one, number 4, is it beneficial to all vested interest? Whatever action is taken ethically, is it beneficial to the public first, aside our personal interest? So these 4 tests, if you ask, is it true? The truth test, let it pass the truth test. Then your decision or outcome, whatever it is, can go. Is it fair? Does it build goodwill? Is it beneficial? So these 4 tests will determine whether an action is ethical or not. Very important. So if the answers are yes, then you can go ahead with any ethical decision you are making. And the 5th test is publicity test. If they come out and say, this is what you did, this is how you reacted, this is how you decided, will the public, if it's published in the newspaper, get you accolades? Will it get you good applause from the public that, oh, you made the right decision and that was very good? So you need to consider this as tests to determine whether your actions are ethical or not. So unwillingness to publicize may indicate that an ethical dilemma beyond commercial sensitivity has ensued. So if a decision is made in your office and you feel and is not being able to be published, if it's needed to be published, and you cannot publish it, it shows that that decision is not ethical. That decision is not ethical. So we need to be sensitive to these questions on the truth test, the fairness test, the goodwill test, and the benefit test, and also publicity test to determine whether an action is ethical. All right, so let's run unit 5, a structured approach. It's logical. A structured approach is logical and a way to pinpoint ethical dilemmas, issues with ethics. So if you are having an ethical issue before you, you need to gather the relevant facts. Number 1, what's the problem? What's the ethical issue before you? You need to be aware of what the problem is first. Then number 2, who are the affected parties? Finance, HR, external parties, stakeholders in your organization. Who are the affected parties? So these are, a structured approach to attack or resolve ethical dilemmas. Number 3, identify the ethical issues after you found who the parties are. And number 4, consider alternative actions and consequences to solve that problem. So do you have 1 way or 2 ways or 3 ways of an ethical way out of that issue? So you need to analyze them and sit down in the production room, which is thinking thinking. You need to think it through. So once you've thought of the alternative courses of action, you decide on the course of action. So the logical approach to ethics is, number one, gather relevant facts and identify the problem. Number two, identify the affected parties, identify the issue you have. Is it an issue of fraud? Is it an issue of stealing? Is it an issue of financial engineering or financial window dressing? Then consider evaluating the alternative causes. What should you do to resolve that consequences, and also decide on the course of action. So that's a structured way to be able to address ethical issues in professional life. Number 6, ethics shade of gray, which is unit 6. We need to be tactful when dealing with ethical issues, especially professionally, not really coming down to the exams now. Professionally, we need to come up with questions. These ethical issues that have happened and brought before you as a chartered accountant, are they willfully performed? Have somebody done something willfully or negligently or by accident? So the consequences of the actions could be willful. Sorry, the performance of that ethical issue can be willful, it can be negligent, it can be accidental. So it can be debatable, but then when the ethical issues come before you as chartered accountants, we need to look at them in this light: willful one, negligence, and accident. And this will help us to be able to deal with it and look out for the gray areas. And that's what the shade of gray speaks to. And we'll be able to address them squarely. So whether a clear ethical issue exists, it can be a matter of opinion, which is, it may be shady. So you need to carefully assess, looking at cultural, national, tribalistic, especially as Nigeria is very sensitively bedeviled with those woes, cultural, religion differences. You have to be careful and make sure you make decisions that will not heat up your office, and they'll say, he's trying to malign Christians, he's trying to malign Muslims, he's trying to malign Igbos, he's trying to malign Hausas, So avoid issues in that area and try to make decisions very, very pragmatically. It's very important in professional life to address shades of gray. Okay, so now we've talking about professional life. Let's come down now to the exams. And this is the final unit, ethics in the professional exams. This is very important. So practical steps for ethical dilemmas and how to apply it. And don't forget, I said 10 marks for requirement 1, you must speak to ethical issues. For requirement 2, you must speak to ethical issues, and they must come in separate headers. The examiner has said it. So 20% of your marks go to ethical issues, and they are in the exhibits. So you need to identify them. And the examiner assesses how candidates should assemble answers to ethical issues within the case of the case study. So the provision of ethical help by the profession. So there's real life, like I've spoken to some in the other for the exam. So in practice, support in sort of from our ICAN bodies, I've spoken to that. Where you have issues in real life, you can get support from ICAN, our district, and the body. But in the exams, you have to analyze it and solve it yourself. So in the exam, you can't seek advice from maybe the examiner or somebody to help you with the ethical issues. You simply need to pass it up the line, and that means you need to look at it by yourself, and an appropriate answer without structured analysis of the issue, ethical concerns, and business impact can make you fail the case study. So for example, a financial statement is not audited, is an ethical issue you need to come up with. Environmental non-compliance, there are ethical issues you need to address, and they come in the case somebody not paying taxes, payee, pension, and regulatory compliance or remittances are not done. These are issues in the case study you need to address. And the examiner expects a demonstration of professional judgment in tackling these ethical issues. You need to assess mainly by identifying them, explaining them, and applying your judgment to resolving them. Very important. So in a situation where financial statements are not audited, you need to identify it, explain why it's needed to be audited, because financial statements have not gone through external reviews, are not valid for decision making. They are not reliable. So you need to speak to that and apply your judgment in addressing that. So ethical considerations form a significant part of the total marks. Now stated the 10 marks for requirement 1, 10 marks for requirement 2. So failure to address them seriously jeopardizes success. In fact, if you don't put them as a separate header, some people fail case study because of that, and not generally because they didn't write well. So ethical issues must come as a separate header. Please take note of it. The examiner is very, very keen about that. So ethical requirements in the case study, they don't come specifically as a requirement, but in those requirements, you must have a separate header where you address them. So where you don't have expressly ethical issues, you could speak to critical matters like inventory being overstated. There can be ethical issues. Receivables being over high, maybe more than 30 days, 100 days. So those critical issues can come as ethical issues. Be a professional skeptic of the financial statements and other non-financial issues you find in the case study paper. So they are not embedded within the case directly. They don't come as ethical issues or as a header, but they are embedded within the text you are reading, the exhibits. So, for example, discussing operations and strategy may cover lack of professional independence or objectivity. That is an ethical issue. Where there is conflict of interest, maybe the chairman, they stated the chairman is giving contract to his wife or to his family member. Those are ethical issues you can point out and discuss them under the case, like doubtful accounting, commercial practice, malpractice, window dressing, inflating figures. Those are ethical issues. Inappropriate pressure to achieve a reported result. They are also ethical issues. Usually business ethic issues in the case study exams are rather professional ethics, and you need to advise on them. You need to wear the hat of an advisor and play the advisor's role in those situations. So consider the audience. You need to speak to the board differently from how to speak to your boss. The board is a number of members, so you're not speaking to one person, but your boss in an internal report is somebody that is one, or you are speaking directly to. So in giving advice for the board, you have to have plethora of options, but for one person, you may be specific. So for the board, you will be general, then for your boss, one person will be specific when giving advice. So consider your audience when discussing ethical issues. So the 4 categories of ethical issues or area of concern in the case study exams is lack of professional independence. So where there is display of independence in the case you are reading is an ethical issue. So advice not in the best interest or the public interest. You see issues like abusing confidentiality, compromising secondment work, working outside expertise, likely least significant in the exams though, but these issues could come. Conflict of interest among stakeholders. The board are fighting, they want to provide contract, they want shares. These are all ethical issues. So where cartels, contradicting environmental issues, flaunting environmental laws, social responsibilities, undisclosed related party transactions. These are all ethical issues. Performance-related pay, abuse of contracts, so doubtful accounting practices. There are plethora of them, so many that come in the case study, and you can identify them. Aggressive supplier attitude, not paying suppliers is also an ethical issue. You don't pay them on time, 30 days, 60 days is an ethical issue. Unfair contract terms, health and safety failings, abuse of customer information, misuse of intelligence, copyright, misleading advertisement, inappropriate pressure to achieve reported results, manipulation of KPIs, misclassification of covenants, questionable bad debt policy, abuse of cutoff, bias forecast. All these and many more are ethical issues that could come in the case study exams. Okay, I think we'll have to excuse Julie now. She needs to go and attend to an important commitment. All right, Julie, we need to excuse you now.
And he has not, funny enough, he has not sent the link yet.
Oh, okay, fantastic. That means let's run through so that if possible you join the quiz. That's what I'm trying to run. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so categorization is not rigid. So examples are possible areas of concern of ethical issues. So we need to identify ethical issues. Some obvious, others are subtle. In our assessment, we need to always mark them, provide them as a separate header, please. So if you are not using my approach where you have the 6 or the 8 headers, please, ethical issues, conclusions, and recommendations should come as separate header. Those three headers must be clearly identified. So read the case within the aim or with the aim of picking out and noting potential ethical issues. And I advise people, as you are reading through the exhibits, you have that 1 hour reading time. Be underlining with your biro the ones that are whatever ethical issues, you state them, so that when you go back to write, you should be able to schedule and plan how to write ethical issues, and also address specific requests to consider ethical dilemmas and dimensions of the case, the requirement 1 and the requirement 2. So also recognize linkages and transactions or contradictions between exhibits. You need to include ethical analysis only where relevant to the requirements. Avoid generic or platitudinous answers. What does it mean by general answers? So it's not stated that the financial statements are management account or audited. You just assume they are audited. No, let those ethical issues be within the case that you know they are ethical issues. If they say management account, you know they are not audited. If they say audited accounts, but if they are silent, don't assume. So you can just state from the information provided, it is not clear that the financial statements have been audited. So that you have some ethical cases or ethical areas in your mind should not mean you state them in every exam. So let it be within the requirements. There will always be ethical issues. The examiner will provide them for you to be able to identify, explain, and provide your judgment. So avoid generic or platitudinous answer where you must provide ethical issues because they said you must have ethical issues as a separate header. So you must also approach ethical issues with the same attention to detail as other aspects like your financial analysis, non-financial analysis. Every header you provide, make sure you approach ethical issues with the same attention. Also apply diplomatic professional judgment. Avoid black and white thinking. What does it mean by black and white thinking? Being stereotyped. So make sure within the case, you open your mind to what is in the case and apply your answers diplomatically. So that's it for ethics in the case study exams. As we have mock exam 3 and exam 4, we should be able to apply them graphically and test our knowledge, and I believe we'll be able to ace the exams very, very seamlessly. Okay, so do we have any questions before we run through our quiz? It's already 9:01. We need to run through the quiz so that we can go on break and come back for the last chapter for the night, writing a professional report, which is very important. Okay, so any questions on ethics in the case study exams? We are done with this module. Any question? I believe it's comprehensive and it's practical. So let's run through the module before Julie will leave us. Let me see if you guys are going to score 100% and you understand ethical issues very practically. All right, so let's get through. I have J on the call. No, let me start with A, J, and R. Okay, so I have 3 of us on the call. So let's test our ethical knowledge and see. So number 1, which of the following is not one of the fundamental principles in the IASB Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants? A, integrity. B, professional skepticism. C, objectivity. D, confidentiality. So which of these is not?
B.
Take note,
B.
it's not. Okay, who is going for B?
B.
R. R is going for B, right?
Should go.
Okay, I is going for B. That was so fast. All right.
I
J,
I can't see it though. I can't see the question on the
Me too. I can't
screen.
see this.
Maybe I have to go out and
Yeah, network is actually poor.
Okay, so let me stop
Mine-
sharing and let me stop sharing and reshare, right?
Okay.
Let me stop sharing and reshare. Okay, so I've stopped sharing and I've reshared. Please confirm. I think it's only R that is seeing my screen. Please confirm. A, can you see it?
I can't see your screen absolutely.
Oh, then you may need to go out and come back like Julie. Please go out and come back. R, you can see my screen, right?
I'm not seeing it now again.
Oh, I shared and reshared. I believe Julie can see my screen now. Jay, can you see my screen?
can see your screen. The guy just sent the link now. So I will continue with you later.
Yeah, you continue with us. All right. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So
bye.
You send it. Okay. You send it to the group, right?
Yes.
You send the record into the group, right?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Bye for now.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Okay. So Aisha, can you see the screen now?
Yes, I can now.
Okay. So Rufiat, how do we do it now? I've scattered the thing and you cannot see the screen. Okay. I think Rufiat has gone out to come back because I think I toggled the screen and she couldn't see it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get your shares. Rufiat has answered number 1. So let me get your option. Which of the following is not one of the 5 fundamental principles in the IESBA Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants? A, integrity. B, professional skepticism. That's so fast. Okay. You're picking B. Final answer, B. I'm trying to accept Rufiat back. Okay, Rufiat is back. Rufiat, please confirm if you can see the screen.
I can see the screen now.
Oh, okay, fantastic. We're both on the same page. Fantastic. Okay, so let's move to number 2. Number 1, everybody chose B. So we'll see on Judgment Day. So number 2, according to the conceptual framework, what is the correct order for addressing an ethical issue? A, apply safeguards, then evaluate threats, then identify threats. B, identify threats, apply safeguards, and evaluate threats. C, evaluate threat, identify threat, and apply safeguards. D, identify threats, evaluate threats, and apply safeguards. According to the conceptual framework, what is the correct order for addressing an ethical issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
D.
R is picking D. Okay. A is also going with R. Are you sure? A, you are going with D, or you are going with A? Okay.
No, D.
Both of you are going for D.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you on Judgment Day. Number 4, which of the following best describes the publicity test in evaluating whether a decision is ethical? A, assess if the decision is legally binding. B, ask how others in the same industry would act. C, consider the consequences of not taking action. D, reflect on how the action will be viewed if made public. Which of the following best describes the publicity test in evaluating whether a decision is ethical? You are picking B?
D.
Somebody said B.
D for dog.
Okay, D. Okay, D for dog. Both of you, D. Okay, right. We'll see. All right, number 4, the ethical threat that arises when an accountant becomes too sympathetic to the interests of a client due to a long-standing relationship is called A, advocacy threat, B, self-review threat, C, familiarity threat, D, intimidation threat. What's your pick? A, C. Okay, C. A is picking C. All right. R, what's your pick?
B, familiarity threat.
You are still thinking, or you're picking C?
Familiarity threat is C.
C, okay. You guys are going for almost the same options. All right. Number 5, in the case study examination, what is the most appropriate way to handle ethical issues within a scenario? I like this one. A, briefly mention the ethical concern and move on. B, ignore it unless explicitly asked in the question. C, analyze the issue with structured reasoning and link it to business impact. D, simply record. So fast. She'll just hear and pick. All right, simply recommend escalating the issue to a superior. In the case study examination, what is the most appropriate way to handle ethical issues within a scenario? So A, what's your pick?
Sorry, my screen just toggled, so I'm reading.
Okay. A, briefly mention the ethical concern and move on. B, ignore it unless explicitly asked in the question. C, analyze the issue with structured reasoning and link it to business impact. D, simply recommend escalating the issue to a superior. Okay. You guys have virtually the same options. All right. Judgment Day, drum roll. One. Which of the following is not one of the 5 fundamental principles in the IASB Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants? Correct answer B, professional skepticism. Yeah, they both got it. Explanation. The IASB. Okay, you can't see the screen.
Again, yeah.
Oh, it's network. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's network.
Yeah, but go ahead. Since we're just checking the
answers. Okay. The IASB code outlines 5 fundamental ethical principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. So that's the answer. We both got it. Good one. Number 2, according to the conceptual framework, what is the correct order for addressing an ethical issue? Correct answer D. Wow, you guys both got it. The explanation is that the conceptual framework for ethical decision making follows a logical order. Identify the threat, evaluate its significance, apply safeguards to reduce or eliminate the threat. Exactly. D and D. You guys got it. Okay. Number 3, which of the following best describes publicity test in evaluating whether a decision is ethical? The answer is D2, reflecting on how the action will be viewed if made public. So the explanation is that the publicity test involves asking, will I be comfortable if this decision is made public or published in the media? If the answer is no, it may be ethically questionable. All right, so D, we both got it. Number 4, the ethical threat that arises when an accountant becomes too sympathetic to the interest of a client due to a long-standing relationship is called familiarity threat. Explanation: a familiarity threat occurs when a close or long-term relationship makes it difficult to remain objective or independent. C. Exactly. All right, number 5. In the ICAN case study exam, what is the most appropriate way to handle ethical issues within a scenario? Analyze the issue with structured reasoning and link it to business impact. C. You guys are very selfish. 5/5, 100/100.